Hello, everyone. We are back. Just probably going to be a quick recap of E3. Go through some of the big announcements and what have you, and our favourite games were announced, basically. Uh,
Yeah, yeah, it was quite a good showing, I think. I mean, considering the circumstances of last year being cancelled and a lot of publishers obviously having to battle with work at home conditions. Yeah, I think there seemed to be a lot on show. I don't know if it also helped a lot of the shows being digital only. Obviously, there was a lot less time for I don't know performances. You could say just like filler, which was good. I think. I think generally speaking, the ones I watched anyway, which were like the main ones, they kind of got to the point, which I thought was good.
Yeah, Ubisoft didn't have any scope to do anything weird this year, which was nice.
Yeah, yeah, that definitely. Yeah, it was definitely Ubisoft I watched, and they had like a good 10 minutes on just Dance, which was like, okay, we know what this game is. You don't need to show us again.
yeah,
Um,
the same time,
so yeah,
same thing every year. Just a couple of minutes.
yeah, like we get it.
Hey, just be thankful there weren't any dancing pandas this year. Okay.
No pandas were harmed in the making of this year's E3. There was quite a lot of Far Cry 6, though, I must say.
Yeah,
I feel like if you include Summer Game Show, it showed up 3 times. Am I right?
Yeah, there was a lot of Far Cry 6.
Yeah, Ubisoft and in Xbox.
Yeah, I mean, one of the nice things was that with each thing that was shown on Far Cry 6, it was something a bit different. So that was, they get some props for that. That was nice.
We may as well start with Ubisoft then. Talk about the big ones that were announced for that. They did that long thing at the beginning about Rainbow Six Extraction, which does look quite cool.
yeah.
Cool kind of a mixture of stealth elements, I suppose. So yeah, does look like an interesting get. It's on, it's on most of the platforms other than Switch, obviously. Yeah, they also showed there was an update to the usual. Was it the North Star update? Or something?
North Star. Yeah, I play that quite a lot. Quite good. I've not tried the new operator yet, but because they put like the new operator behind like a paywall thing for like a couple of weeks. So you have to like pay for the season pass or whatever to gain early access. In all companies are doing stuff like that now. And
yeah.
there's no getting away from it.
What was the other one? They had Rise Republic, which looked quite fun, kind of like that extreme sports battle royale, I guess, which was quite cool.
Yeah, I mean, I checked out Steep, which came out a few years ago, which is kind of their kind of take on SSX, if you want, but with wingsuits, which is, I mean, honestly, if you put a wingsuit in a game, it's immediately more fun. Just Cause proved this. Yeah, with them kind of going more kind of like mountainy with bikes and stuff like that, they've proved that it can work. It's proven that they can do a decent game from that. So yeah, I'd be pretty interested to see that.
Yeah. I'm just trying to think what was the other really big. They kind of had a lot of stuff in rapid fire, which was quite good, just like updates and stuff. They did talk a little bit more on, obviously there was Just Dance, but also Assassin's Creed Valhalla with those new updates. Which
I mean, it makes sense to support that game into a second year. I'm still kind of a bit annoyed that we didn't get like a filler Assassin's Creed this year. But if they're going to keep supporting it and they're going to continue to do live updates and stuff, then that's
I think it makes sense. It probably helps with their development team as well with these big, like how big the games are getting these days. So yeah, I suppose it's commendable on that in that respect.
Absolutely.
Then yeah, as we mentioned, there was some more Far Cry 6 after already seeing some at the Summer Game Show. which one was this trailer? I can't even remember.
So this was the one where it kind of. I mean, one thing that Far Cry knows how to do is its villains. Far Cry villains are stellar. So this was the one that focused on the villain, and he looks like an interesting character.
Was this the one that also announced this special mode, like the villain's story thing?
Yeah. Well, I got a little bit confused at this because they showed off that you can play as the villains and this is a new kind of mode. But also, it seems that Far Cry 6 is also being bundled with Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon.
Yes, that's right.
That's what is that, 6-7 years old? Like, why?
Yeah, I I was kind of watching that like, okay, that's cool, but what's that mean? Like, why is that? Why is that? Is it a huge bonus? I don't know. Obviously we saw it again appear in the Xbox and Bethesda show, so we'll mention it again then. But then we got the basically leaked game, the sequel for Mario & Rabbids, Sparks of Hope, which was given a 2022 release date. But Nintendo basically leaked this on their website the same morning, so everyone knew it was coming. It wasn't exactly a huge surprise. There'd been a lot of teasing from the game composer as well, Grant Kirkhope, on his Twitter, so it was kind of bound to happen. It looks clean. It looks cleaner than the first one, I guess. Same gameplay, it looks like, but in space. So, fun.
Yeah, it's, one of the things that I take away from this year's E3 is 2022 looks great.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, 2021, less so. But 2022, guys,
It did feel like the only showing that was like very 2021 focused was Nintendo, and that's probably only because they were so quiet last year. Everyone was like, okay, cool, so are any games coming out this year other than like the 2 that we know about? And they were Pokemon games anyway, so especially we'll get onto it, but the Xbox Game Pass stuff is pretty non-stop, which is really cool. But finally from Ubisoft, which was a really nice surprise, because I think, Ben, did you mention it, or I can't remember if Josh mentioned it in our pre-show, about the Avatar game?
Oh yeah,
that looks next gen, which is really cool. I was talking to Leon about while we were watching it, just saying how it's nice to see a game that's very obviously targeting next gen, and not trying to hold on to this the current generation, or it's not last generation. I don't even know where we sit now.
We're in that weird in-between time at the moment, aren't we?
Yeah, people developers aren't ready to let go of their install bases, but want to make bigger games.
Absolutely. I mean, okay, so I would say that the Ubisoft conference was okay. Like the Avatar stuff was good. I have the biggest gripe with Ubisoft though, because have we all just had this collective fever dream for the past 4 years that Beyond Good and Evil 2 actually exists? have we all just like had this shared psychosis, and that we've just imagined this? Where was Beyond Good and Evil 2? What's happening? Give me updates.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel it's like everyone talks about it, and I mean, at this stage, like someone maybe just make a fan game version of it.
Yeah, like it's been so many years now. I mean, of all the years that you could have shown something, this was the year Ubisoft. Oh,
I guess maybe they would rather show the Avatar one because of, I don't know, maybe is there a trailer for the second sequel coming soon on the film? I'm wondering if it's, there's some business reason behind it, and they're trying to get the moolah in, so to speak. I'm not too sure. I'm basing this off is films that we probably will be seeing trailers of soon, like Jurassic Park 3. So that's a Jurassic World 3, should I say? Sorry. That's all I'm going off of. But I mean, Avatar looks really cool. It'd be nice to see some gameplay in the near future. But they still need to announce, actually show more of Beyond Good and Evil 2 first. So
go back and play the first one. Yeah, well, yeah, 2022, guys.
Yeah. Oh, we'll be back in. Hopefully, be able to find out if.
Yeah, we'll be back in next year talking about it as well.
Yeah, exactly. Speculating the same things.
So the big one probably we'll move on to Xbox.
Yeah,
and Bethesda.
Gearbox didn't really have anything huge to announce, so we'll move on from that. I don't think did anyone watch it. So
I missed that one.
I didn't. I missed that one. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, an hour and a half. Xbox and Bethesda. Considering it was an hour and a half, I feel like it went by really fast, which was a good thing on Xbox's part. It felt like it was just like even the stuff that maybe personally I wasn't hugely interested in. It all looked really good. So yeah, I think they did a really good job. Again, like we said, a lot of it is 2022, but they had that bonus of just being like Game Pass, which was a
picture
was
of
really
all
strong.
the games that are Game Pass right now, like Christmas.
Yeah.
I mean,
very impressive.
The thing that really struck me about Microsoft is Halo Infinite, which is, your system seller, was relegated to the middle of the show. That shows how much they had to show this time. It's like, and we've got this, and we've got this, and we've got this. We've got Halo Infinite, but you know about that, so let's show you some more stuff that you don't know about. And it was, stellar. Absolutely stellar from Microsoft.
I mean, I'm almost surprised that, I mean, I don't know, maybe I'm just too new into the Xbox game sphere, but I'm almost surprised that the Redfall made the big final announcement. I mean, it looks good, and I know the team obviously have quite a well-renowned back catalogue. I don't know, just personally I felt like, okay, this seems like other games that we have, and obviously there was no gameplay, so it was kind of like, okay, yeah, fair enough. I didn't think it was like incredibly amazing way to end, but in terms of like consistency, really good.
One of the things that I do want to talk about is Forza Horizon 5, because that it was ludicrous. And now Forza games obviously do focus a lot more on their graphics and making the cars look nice and shiny, and that's all well and good. This looked like it was ripped straight out of a film. It did. With the whole 4K thing with the Series X and the PS5, like I've seen stuff and it's been like, that's very impressive, but it still looks like a game. This is the first time where I've gone, whoa, that is really impressive.
Yeah, and we saw gameplay and everything, so it was again, just another one on their list of really solid announcements, I think. I don't know, there was a lot of stuff that like at least like we got to see both like a trailer and gameplay, which was really good. And obviously, like I said, that added bonus of Game Pass, for many of the titles.
Yeah, I mean, it did become a kind of like running joke drinking game in our household of just drink every single time it says play it day one on Game Pass. Just
I mean, that was what, like 28 out of 30 of the announcements, so
pretty much.
I mean, we had a good night. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I would imagine. I mean, let's like kind of, I guess, talk about the big ones in order.
Big elephant in the room.
Starfield.
Yes.
Yeah. So obviously we were talking beforehand. Are we going to see it? Are we not going to see it? We saw it. I mean, it was a cinematic trailer, wasn't it? There wasn't really any gameplay yet.
Well, better than nothing. So.
Yeah, and considering it's like a holiday game next year, so I guess they're lining up to be Halo this year and then Starfield next year, which makes sense. Yeah, I look forward to seeing more on this. It's a new Bethesda IP, so should be very interesting.
So I took away, like, when watching it, it was very impressive. I thought the graphics looked good. Inclusion of ladders made me laugh. It was basically Bethesda saying, "Look, we've got a new engine. We can do ladders now," which was hilarious. The big thing from that, though, that I took was the massive exclusive that came off it. Now that we don't know what that is. That a timed exclusive? Is that an actual just completely exclusive for Xbox? Now
didn't they make a tweet or something where they were like, sorry PlayStation fans or something. in the on the screen, which was sweet. And wasn't I don't know how true this is, but you were saying that there was a Elder Scrolls 6 hint in there somewhere.
It was etched into the front of the console on the ship, wasn't it? Apparently,
Amazing.
I didn't see much of it, but
Yeah, I mean they're saying it's going to be like what? Were they saying it was going to be like a Elder Scrolls in space or something, or like Indiana Jones esque? That's what I heard from interviews. I think.
I think.
Go on.
I was just gonna say, yeah, I think they were kind of hinting at, this is going to be Elder Scrolls in space. Which, to be honest, I think that's what we were kind of expecting.
Yeah, I think it was set up for that kind of that aesthetic, wasn't it?
So yeah, I mean, it was nice to get a release date, and it was nice to get the whole exclusive thing.
Yeah,
and then obviously play it day one on Game Pass. Again,
yeah,
yeah.
But yeah, then we had that Stalker one. I mean, I don't really know the franchise, so I don't know if either of you guys are more familiar with that. But
I played one of the other Stalkers a little bit, but
it looked cool. I think it definitely had a like I can't remember. I saw someone else comparing it to the Extraction, Rainbow Six Extraction, and just how it seemed to kind of nail a bit more of a horror aesthetic, a bit more than Rainbow Six did, which I kind of agree with. Like there were definitely parts where it looked like it got quite dark and scary, which was cool. I think a game like that kind of needs it.
Got a Metro feel to it as well, by the looks of it.
Yes, yeah, that's right, isn't it? Yeah.
Now, I really struggled with Stalker only because it looked cool. Don't get me wrong. However, the subtitles, because they were all speaking in either Ukrainian or Russian, they did not show on my TV. So it was basically 5 minutes of me watching these men talk. They could have been talking about anything, for all I know. I have no idea. So
I think I don't think it was particularly important. It was just they were like telling it like a story, from what I remember. So, but yeah, I see the frustration there. Then they showed off some Back for Blood, didn't they? Which we'd heard about, and it's coming October this year. Is that it's the same company that did Left 4 Dead? Is this like a spin-off? Correct me if I'm wrong. My ignorance is showing.
It's a spiritual successor, isn't it? Didn't they do the original, the first Back for Blood, Left 4 Dead?
Yeah, something like that.
If I remember correctly. Someone's going to correct me in the comments.
Looks like a fun multiplayer game.
Yeah. It's online only as well, isn't it? You have to be online to even play single player.
Is it? Oh,
yeah. I don't know how.
Interesting. Looks fun though. But I think that was on Game Pass as well, wasn't it? So it was like, yeah, cool. Pick that up.
I mean, one of the questions that I had was, I mean, this is it looks good. Don't get me wrong, but it looks so similar to Left 4 Dead. Why have you not just gone and done Left 4 Dead 3? Why? What's with the new name and stuff? That's weird.
Yeah, I wonder. Unless they didn't want it to be confusing with
maybe they don't like making 3. Let's not talk about Half-Life 3. Still waiting.
Yeah.
Let's see. Oh yeah, then we got the Sea of Thieves update with Pirates of the Caribbean, which was a surprise. And actually one that's coming out tomorrow on the day of recording, which is the 22nd of June. Yeah, I mean, a surprise. I'm yet to dive into that, pun intended.
I haven't.
I'm surprised.
For ages.
I'm surprised that Disney are allowing the IP to move over to something like that. I guess there must be a fair amount of financial gain, let's say.
Yeah, I mean, again, watching this was just like, oh, okay, that just makes sense. That just fine.
It just fits it perfectly. I was watching the Red on a live stream the day before. I know I was watching rerun of it earlier, and they were obviously talking about how they wanted Pirates of the Caribbean in Sea of Thieves, and how they all like got it together and that.
Nice.
I see. Yeah, that's good.
I do jump into that.
Yeah, I'd probably give that a go. Why not? Yeah, was it Yakuza Like a Dragon's on Game Pass? That was, I think, Shadow dropped, which that's quite a big franchise, so good to see that.
Then we've got more collections on Game Pass now.
Yeah, that's it, isn't it? Yeah. Again, that's another series I definitely would like to try. It seems very zany, which seems fun. Then we saw more on Battlefield 2042, which is one of the few games not coming to Game Pass because obviously it's EA, and EA need to make their own money, understandably. But yeah, this looks wild. Considering I wouldn't say I'm huge on those kind of games, but just the amount of realism in this, and obviously the kind of aesthetic is really cool.
Yeah, I mean, like, it 100% agree with you. It looked just like, wild. Absolutely. Like, people blowing up and things going off left, right, and center.
I'd say almost like in the same kind of, ballpark as Forza, I'd say, in terms of like for that genre anyway. Let's see. Then we saw a few other small ones. 12 Minutes finally got a release date, which looks cool. Looks quite interesting. Psychonauts 2. Again, I didn't really know about this franchise before. I think the last E3 when they announced the acquisition. Although saying that, on that note, we didn't see any acquisitions, which was quite good in a way because it meant that there was just more time for announcements.
Yeah, I'm glad that Microsoft's got to the point now where they're happy with their empire.
Yeah, and they can't. Yeah, because it was almost seeming like, are they just buying these companies so that they don't make any more games? Like, you hear horror stories and you never know. If that's that could be something that they're doing. But yeah, they definitely. It feels like what they were prepping in 2019 is now kind of coming to. We're starting to see the results of all these companies now, which is good. And again, when you couple that with Game Pass, it's just crazy the amount of value.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be shocked if they up the price of Game Pass, like towards the end of this year. So if you get the EA access as well, with 20 out of 30 or whatever it was games coming straight to Game Pass.
That's the thing. Battlefield will probably eventually come to Game Pass as well, 2042. It's just a matter of time, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, this was the thing that, like, weren't they in talks to do the stuff from Uplay as well at some point? And Ubisoft in there. Yeah.
We'll talk about that.
I don't know where that is or whether that's going to happen or something. But then again, if you've got EA Play and all of the Microsoft games, all of the Xbox Studio games, and all of the Ubisoft games, then that's insane.
And obviously we didn't see anything about this Nintendo hints that they're working something with them. Apparently we're going to see it in the fall. Apparently that's what I remember hearing from insiders reports. So I mean obviously given how tight Nintendo are with their IPs, it's obviously not going to be some sort of like, you're not going to be able to play Breath of the Wild on your Xbox, I'm sure. But it almost wouldn't surprise me if there's some sort of like, if Xbox are somehow helping. I don't know what kind of negotiation would be beneficial for the both of them, but I could almost see them helping Nintendo with a cloud, maybe like with server space or something. Because we'll get onto it, but there's a whole thing about the Switch Online being kind of lackluster, even though it's super cheap. You've only got their first two consoles access, which are super basic. Perhaps they're working with Microsoft, and maybe Microsoft are going to be bringing then the Game Pass to the Switch somehow, and then they're getting money from Switch owners buying into a monthly subscription, and and meanwhile Nintendo then have a better service to offer to their own fans, I just can't really see what other setup would mean that both parties are going to be interested. I don't know. I know there's a whole talk of Master Chief and Smash, but I don't feel like that's noteworthy enough to be kind of placing a Switch next to the only two consoles that your own company has. But I mean, that's just, maybe I'm looking too far into it, but yeah. But yeah, anyway, moving on, Doom Eternal is getting the next gen upgrade, so that's cool. Nice to see that like they're acknowledging some of these late last gen games, and giving them the boost that they need. Yeah, I mean, it's super annoying that I got Doom Eternal on Switch, like very, very close to actually getting my Xbox Series S, because now I'm probably just going to play on Series S, to be honest.
Yeah.
What about Outer Worlds 2 having a trailer?
I like that. I thought that was fun.
Everybody else was like, "Oh yeah, we like you know, we Halo Infinite and Starfield and Outworld 2 as well." This is massive. Like, where does this come from?
Yeah, I was happy to see this. Again, another game, I've got it on Switch, and now I'm kind of like kicking myself because I now I've got an Xbox, and I probably just play on the Xbox. But I love the aesthetic, and I still need to play the first one. But yeah, so I'm quite surprised it's so soon after the first game that they're announcing it. But I guess for all we know, it could be early 2023. You know, they didn't give a date, and it was just a kind of teaser. So, but it's interesting that they're turning it into a franchise.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, no spoilers, obviously. Not going to do any spoilers, but I'd be interested to see where they go after the end of the first one.
Yeah.
So yeah, it'll be I'd be fine. Like absolutely fine.
Yeah, I'm totally down for that. What else was quite big? Well, obviously, Halo Infinite got a kind of showed off a bit more of the multiplayer, which obviously is a big aspect of Halo. It looks good. It looks clean. I mean, again, as a slight Halo noob, I haven't played any of the games since the first one. What were your guys' thoughts?
I thought with a lot of these now, often when you used to look at stuff on E3, and certainly with the last generation, stuff would happen, and you'd look at it and you'd go, yeah, that's not going to happen though, is it? Because we don't have the technology to make that happen. So that's just that's BS. Or something. But like with the multiplayer for Halo Infinite, when there was this scene where this warthog's coming over the top, and there's people flying left, right, and center, and there's explosions going off, and people are fighting all these like separate battles and stuff like that. And I looked at it, and I was very much like, yeah, I can see that happening, actually.
This could be live gameplay.
Yeah, of course, we've got the technology to do it now, and they've got enough rendering capability to have that many people on a server. So yeah, I think, to be honest, with Infinite and the kind of terrible graphics things that went off at the last Series X thing, I think from looking at it in this presentation, it looks like they've done a lot of work to it.
Yeah, I'm excited to get into it for sure. Let me see. Yeah, it was Diablo 2 Resurrected, so that's a new Diablo game for those who are interested. Hades is coming to Game Pass, which is pretty cool. Quite a big. It's an indie, isn't it? Was it?
Yeah,
it was an indie, I think. Yeah. One I did want to bring up, just because there's been news since the actual original announcements, was the that Plague Tale Requiem. I believe it's a sequel to a previous Plague Tale game. Is that right?
Yeah. So Plague Tale Innocence was the first. Again, played on Game Pass. I've not finished that yet, but I'm halfway through. Very, very good, in my opinion. But nice to see that it's getting an actual, sequel, and that we're going for a whole franchise through with this as well.
Well, I just wanted to bring it up as well because it's like I'm just looking at this chart where we're going off of, and that says it's not on Switch, but actually it is coming to Switch on the cloud form, which is interesting. It was announced afterwards. Both that and the first game are coming via the cloud. which is interesting. That's another thing. That's why I'm kind of thinking maybe they're building some sort of cloud. Maybe Xbox are helping them with a cloud service to help some of these cross-gen games make their way onto Switch, because that's the big thing. Everyone is just like, I tried Control, for example, which was on the cloud system, and it was fine. It ran well, but you have to sit in a queue to get there.
Okay.
Like to the point, which is like, especially for playing on the go. I mean, obviously, I don't know how that would work if I imagine it's more for docked play, but I guess that they want people to have the option of playing these games. Switch does have the capability for that. But yeah, it makes me wonder, perhaps are Xbox helping out Nintendo on that front, because it seems to be an issue that they've always struggled with. I don't know. But yeah, so that's why I just wanted to bring up Plague Tale because of that. Then we saw more Far Cry 6. Now I forget which one.
That always pops up, doesn't it? Far Cry 6.
Yeah, I feel like that was the overarching game.
Square Enix, or there's a big one.
There wasn't really much else on. I'm just trying to think. It was like updates. We didn't see. What was it? We didn't see Elder Scrolls 6, as we mentioned. So not that it was a surprising, but yeah, that was a thing. I
think the problem. Yeah, I think the problem that Bethesda have got now is that because they showed that so early in development, now whenever an E3 rolls around, everyone's like, are they going to do the thing? So yeah, I mean, it would have been ludicrous if they showed it.
I mean, at this stage, I almost feel like next year's they're gonna show that off a little bit more, but it still might not be that year. What was the other one?
Starfield's out next year, isn't it? So it's not going to be Elder Scrolls. Then
exactly.
Until 2024 at the earliest.
Yeah,
I'm calling it now. Yeah. I'm calling it now.
Or it could be like the winter 2023 game, which is, that's still a ways away. One I wanted to mention as well was the Microsoft Flight Simulator coming to Xbox, which looks really clean. I just remember thinking like, wow, if this is running on an Xbox, it looks good.
I'm so excited. Honestly, I've played a little bit on my PC with Game Pass, and it's fine, but my PC kind of struggles with it because you're rendering the entire world in 4K, so it's like, whoa. Yeah. I'm so excited to play it on Xbox. I think it's going to be amazing. I can't wait.
Yeah, same actually. And then as we mentioned, we had Redfall, which is the new Obsidian. No, not Obsidian.
Arcane.
Arcane. That's it. Yeah. Not much to say. Yeah, it was kind of a long teaser, but yeah. So we'll move on to Square Enix. Theirs was okay. I wouldn't say they kind of used Guardians of the Galaxy as that was kind of the main draw really of it, wasn't it? I mean, I wouldn't really know what more to say. It looks good. The game looks fun.
Gardeners of the Galaxy.
Gardeners of the Galaxy. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I mean, so you know how you've got like Lego, and then you've got Playmobil, and then it's like Playmobil try and do what Lego do, but Lego's always. That's kind of how I feel about the new Guardians game. It's like, this is Chris Pratt, and this is knockoff Chris Pratt. So it's a bit weird, isn't it?
I got more of a Ryan Reynolds vibe, but yeah, I get what you mean.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it looks fun. It looks like it's very true to the style. It's just, I guess it's one of those ones like, until you get hands on with it, you're not going to really know if you like it. I think. I don't know. Yeah.
I mean, I would hope that this is an apology for the absolute disaster that was the Avengers game.
Oh yeah.
I mean, was it one of you guys or Leon was saying how that's gone better at least?
It was Leon. He did mention that Guardians doesn't have any of the what made Avengers game fall flat on its face.
Yeah. I heard so much stuff about like they just tried too much in a game that already had a big name on it. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we saw the update for Black Panther for Avengers. Whether that gets a lot of people going back into it, I don't know. But yeah,
Probably
yeah.
not.
Then we saw the. Yeah, that's the thing. I think once the name is kind of tarnished, that's it, really, isn't it? Yeah. Then we had, I suppose, the other big segment was about Life is Strange. So there's a remastered collection, which me and Leon were talking, and I don't know. It was weird that they announced. Like, I suppose it makes sense that they announced it, but at the same time, no, scrap that. I find it weird that they announced it, at least the remastered collection in the Square Enix one, because I was talking to Leon and I was like, oh, it must be coming to Switch, because why else would you remaster it and it kind of look kind of the same?
Why is this? Why? Like, don't get me wrong, remastered games, I'm all for. Mass Effect Legendary Edition, all for it, love it.
Oh, yeah.
Crash Bandicoot, love it, right?
Exactly.
Life is Strange, you've not changed anything.
Like, it's like they've just gone from this lighting to this lighting. It's not neither's better. It's just a change in preference.
Fundamentally as well, like the first two Life is Strange games are such kind of like they've got such a specific art style that you don't need to like up the graphics to 4K or anything like that, because that's not why you're playing. What that?
Yeah, that's why I guess maybe because they didn't. Part of me thinks maybe they didn't know when each showcase was going to happen. And so maybe, Nintendo already had that exclusivity. So they were like, oh, you can't mention it's on Switch. So they were just like, okay, we've got a remastered collection coming.
There's a new one as well, isn't it?
Yeah, the new one. Yeah, the new one looks good, and that's coming on Switch as well. Yeah,
collection rotation.
Yeah, but the new one looks good. Definitely clean. What else? I mean, they showed that Final Fantasy Pixel, which is coming to phones, but not Switch, which I find very strange. But
makes me very nervous. Mobile phone games make me very nervous. I don't like.
Where's the monetization coming in? Everything you buy in stores, you actually have to pay money for. There's just literally grinding is just real life grinding.
I would have to take out a third job. I'd be finished off then.
Exactly. I guess their final thing was the Stranger of Paradise, wasn't it? The Final Fantasy Origin, which is a collaboration with them, Team Ninja and Koei Tecmo, from what I remember. I don't know much about this game, but there was a demo released. Is that right? And there was a bunch of bugs. That's all I heard. And so I was just like, oh dear, this hasn't gone down. First impressions aren't great.
Yeah, I mean, I read a thing that apparently it's happening before, like in the timeline, it happens before the first Final Fantasy.
I'm assuming so. It kind of gives that impression, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely not a Final Fantasy buff. If it's not 10, I'm not interested. So yeah, I mean, I don't know the whole timeline and all that kind of stuff, but yeah, that's what I heard, which is it's kind of interesting, I guess.
I mean, I heard people were kind of saying it looks a bit. Oh no, that was Babylon's Fall. People said that didn't look that good, but I was like, I mean, it doesn't look next gen per se, but it looks fine. Although, no, it is coming to PS4, so I don't know. But yeah, I think that was kind of the takeaway from Square Enix. There was some Final Fantasy stuff, as always, but yeah, Guardians of the Galaxy was kind of their main focus.
I felt it was poor. It was in terms of what they showed, and it was kind of like why are you doing a conference? You obviously don't have enough.
Yeah, I wasn't like. I wasn't like, oh no, this is terrible, but I was kind of just like, okay, it was a performance, it was a showcase. I think the fact that they had to follow Xbox and Bethesda definitely didn't do them justice. It was kind of like, oh okay, and now let's see what Square Enix has to show. Good job, guys.
I mean, it could have been worse. It could have been Warner Brothers games, who I was so excited for. Oh, are we going to get Hogwarts Legacy? Oh, are we going to get, the Rocksteady game? Are we going to get the new Batman game? Back for Blood. That was it.
Yeah. Which was at Bethesda's as well, Xbox. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just having a look at the PC gaming show. The only there's Hello Neighbor 2. I know that's got quite a big fan base. Like Dying Light 2, yeah. I actually didn't watch this one, so I cannot really comment much.
So I did check this one out. This was one of the weirdest presentations I think I've ever seen in my life, because they showed the games and that was fine. However, it was all in this overarching theme where the presenters were in space and there was some kind of like storyline that the bot that they had in space was like dying. Like, and it was just
too hard.
It was so extra. And then like they had this running thing throughout the conference of these PCs, which were inspired by MechWarrior 5, I think it was, MechWarrior Online. So it's like, oh, you get to vote for your favorite, and then we're going to be, selling this new PC and stuff like that. They all look fucking terrible. Like they were terrible. Like they were absolutely, honestly, the worst. Like those like the PCs which just look like a massive hunk of metal, and I hate them. But it was just one of the strangest conferences I think I've ever watched.
Interesting. I can't say I've heard. I'm just looking at the list of games that were announced. The only other one I saw about was Far Changing Tides, which got an announcement, which I think is a sequel to a previous game, which apparently is very nice and artistic and kind of indie. Hello Neighbor 2, I know a little bit about, but it's one of those kind of Twitch stream games, isn't it?
Jurassic World Evolution 2.
But that was shown off again. That was shown off at Summer Game Show, wasn't it? So, took the wind out of its sail there.
Yeah, I mean, really, if you want to sum up this E3, it's E3 and then a colon and then Far Cry 6 and Jurassic World Evolution 2, because both of those just showed up so much over the entire weekend.
And Mario & Rabbids had a little... yeah, that's it. Right, well, moving on, I can't think of any, unless there's anything else that you...
No, to be honest, a lot of the stuff that they showed was quite forgettable, because a lot of it was... There was no release date. It was wish list now, and it was like,
Got it. I see. I'm just looking at future game show. Oh yeah, Jurassic World Evolution 2. There it is again. Sonic Colors Ultimate was shown off a bit more. I think I heard about this. They just showed a bit more of the gameplay, and apparently it looks cleaner. So it's nice to have a Sonic game coming back again that apparently isn't terrible. I don't understand how they can't make a good Sonic game these days, but it is what it is. Let's see, Warcry looks like spin-off stuff. I don't know. I didn't watch the future game show, but I don't know if either of you did.
I didn't check this one.
Fair. Well, we'll move on from that one then, I guess. What have we got then? Indie Showcase. Doesn't seem to be anything particularly of note that I've seen much talk about. Freedom Games. Wow, there was a lot that I didn't actually catch. So apologies there. Capcom. I didn't watch Capcom, but did either of you guys?
I did not.
I heard it wasn't. Oh no, Capcom's was kind of just games that we already knew about, if I remember, isn't it?
Yeah, you got
Resident Evil
Rebirth
Village.
coming out.
Yeah. Monster Hunter stuff, which we already know, and we saw the Stories 2 stuff in the Nintendo Direct, and then Great Ace Attorney Chronicles, which is coming. I want to say we already knew about this anyway, so it was like DLC and stuff that we knew about. I don't think there's much to say about
that. So Will, we're up to your wheelhouse here.
So Nintendo,
take it away.
Nintendo's did well, I think. But as we were saying before, we started recording. I think the big benefit was that they hadn't shown a lot yet. So it was kind of like the surprise of seeing a lot of 2021 games that we didn't know about, which was nice. But yeah, they kicked off with Smash Brothers getting a Tekken character, Kazuya, which was cool. I don't think no one had rumored it or leaked it or anything. Again, which has meant that this pass has been very very unexpected. Yeah, I'm happy. I loved Tekken 3. I think apologies to anyone who watched our recap, me and Leon watching afterwards, because I thought it was Jin Kazuya. I thought that was his name, but I realized Kazuya is his dad. So yeah, there's a whole Tekken story that I'm just not well versed on. But yeah, I'm happy because Tekken 3 was my jam, and I was I'm happy to see a Tekken character get some rep. As we mentioned before, Life is Strange. I don't know why this was. Yeah, the remastered collection shown off in the Square Enix thing was a bit anticlimactic and confusing because it didn't look any better. But it just instantly, I was like, oh, it must be coming to Switch, and then it just didn't say Switch. So I was like, well, okay, like, why are they even doing this? So it wasn't until the Nintendo Direct I was like, thank God, there we go. Surprisingly, yeah, Guardians of the Galaxy coming to Switch, but cloud version. Don't know if this is one of the Switch Pro games that some insiders were saying we were going to see, but yeah, I don't know. It didn't look. It didn't look. I mean, I don't know. It didn't look great on this trailer. But yeah, we'll have to see, I guess, because that's coming out the same day as well as the other consoles. Had some like BTS stuff, nothing huge. Super Monkey Ball, Banana Mania, so it's like 20th anniversary collector like remaster. So to Super Monkey Ball fans, seems like a good buy. I'm not one of those people, but then we got, I think we talked about this, a Mario Party Superstars. So it's like a new game in the series, which had been rumored. They just added that online expansion to Super Mario Party, and then it was a bit weird because it only happened like, I don't know, a month ago. So there was kind of this precedence of, oh, maybe they're going to kind of push people to start to play that again. So because if you can play it online, I don't know why it didn't have online. Kind of confuses me, but no, they're just going to be like, cool, that's a thing, and now we've got a new thing, which I think it comprises of a lot of like old boards, so they're kind of banking on that like 64 nostalgia, which makes sense. Moving on, we got a little like update from Metroid Prime 4 saying it's going well. So I imagine we probably won't see it till like next E3, to be honest.
I really hate it when developers do that. EA developers are really bad for it as well.
Yeah.
When like developers just go, oh yeah, so the game that we're not going to show it you, but just rest assured. And then they do this thing where like they have shots of them working on the game with like on their computers and stuff like that. And I don't know why, it's one of those weird
tease
that I got.
The worst tease, yeah. I mean, I think in this case, it's a bit more understandable because I think probably people are just worried that it's going to get restarted again or something. There's that fear of like, I remember seeing the trailer, like the announcement go up of it being restarted, and it just said Metroid Prime 4 update, and it was like January or something. So everyone was like, "Ooh, exciting! It must be like big enough that it warrants its own video." And it was just like one of the heads of Nintendo just basically apologizing, saying that it wasn't up to standard, and that they were changing developers and restarting. So it was just like, so deep. But yeah, so I understand them saying not wanting to show anything yet, but just saying like, don't worry, it's coming along well. But yeah, at least they had a game in the Metroid franchise to show about, and which was highly rumored, which was the Metroid Dread. Which I don't know if any of you know much about the history about this, but like it's been kind of planned for like 16 years, which is really cool. Right. It's actually getting. I mean, I think it was in the Treehouse afterwards. The developers were talking about how the concept just wouldn't run on previous hardware. So yeah, I mean, I get a very. It's got that kind of is it Resident Evil 3 vibe. Where you're being followed essentially and hunted. So yeah, I'll be interested to see if there's kind of like an advanced AI system in the game, kind of, I guess, like Alien Isolation or something like that. Yeah, has cool vibes. I'm sure that they'll make a really good Metroidvania, and it's nice to see the franchise back.
Yeah, I think that was my takeaway. It's just nice to see Metroid again.
You know. Yeah, and it looks clean as well, which is a definite bonus. Yeah, they showed off quite a bit on the treehouse, and it looks like it's really fun to play. And some cool like power ups and stuff. So yeah, I look forward to it. And again, that's a 2021 release. So they already had 2 new games, Mario Party and this, for 2021, which was nice to see. The other big one, I guess, well, big ones, Dragon Ball Z Kakarot finally got an announcement. The port for Switch, which was kind of leaked by them themselves. I think they had the Switch logo in the in a DLC trailer, I think, and they were like, "Oh no, it was just a mistake." You put a console logo into an advert by mistake. Then yeah, we got update. Well, just kind of a reminder on Super Mario Golf Super Rush, which is coming out like in 4 days of this recording. Monster Hunter Stories 2, which had been mentioned in the Capcom one, so it was just a longer trailer. Then we actually did get we mentioned this before, they had sent a survey out to see how much people were willing to pay for a WarioWare game, and I think I don't know if I mentioned this in the pre-show, but I was wondering if they had it ready and they were like gauging interest. Because yeah, they announced a new WarioWare game, which, you know, fun mini games, fun kind of party thing. Yeah, you can play with friends. It makes sense to be on Switch, to be honest. There's so many like ways to play, you know, kind of gameplay elements to the Switch that it makes sense.
You know, Nintendo, like in terms of what they showed, was really good. They leaned in heavily on what they do best, which is stuff like Mario and Wario and stuff like that. Metroid as well. But I think it felt so fresh and exciting because like a lot of the stuff was 2021, which we had like at this point in E3, everything was kind of 2022.
Yeah. And the other bonus, I think, as well, the kind of having watched, you know, directs and stuff since like 2018. The one thing I got a sense that they were like bringing back a lot of sub franchises. So like, you know, we had you know, Metroid coming back, WarioWare. What was, I think further down we had Fatal Frame, which is technically a Nintendo IP. Granted, it was just a Wii U port, but I guess, you know, it might be a case of they want to see how, you know, is there an audience for that on Switch? Is it worth making a new one? Yeah, don't know. We'll see. I think that game is coming to multi-platform though, so it's not an exclusive, which is interesting. I don't know who has the rights anymore, but
was that Fatal Frame?
Yeah, Fatal Frame. Yeah.
It just
apparently not. Apparently it was announced afterwards that it is coming to other platforms. Yeah, weird because it's like Koei Tecmo, Nintendo, some sort of collaboration thing. I don't know how it works, but yeah, nice to see that again. The other big one that got a big segment was Shin Megami Tensei 5, which I guess they're trying to, you know, it probably appeals to a lot of the Japanese audience, kind of like the basis of the Persona franchise. So I guess they're trying to make that kind of see if they can get a bigger audience for that, the original series that started that. Yeah, then there was kind of, it showed off some like small things, Doom Eternal getting its DLC, Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2, which we already knew, Mario & Rabbids, it showed off again, Advanced Wars 1 and 2 getting a remaster, which is cool. Again, another game franchise that's coming back from seemingly the dead. Yeah, interesting to see that back. I hear it is £60, like it's like a £60 game, you know, $60. So I don't know. Given that WarioWare is doing 50, I kind of feel like it should probably be the same. But yeah, I don't know. I hope, you know. I'm sure people who love the franchise are happy to see it back. I saw a lot of like surprised reactions to that announcement. So, and then yeah, they closed off with a Zelda segment, which like I feel like at that point everyone was like, come on, are they going to show any, like, what is the final thing going to actually be, if not Breath of the Wild? They showed off some of the expansion pass for Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity, which kind of knew that was going to happen. Reminder that Skyward Sword HD is coming out, but like they haven't really mentioned that there's going to be anything extra, which I know they did for the previous remakes, or remasters, should I say. Is it just the control scheme? I don't know, but yeah, they showed off a Zelda Game & Watch like they did for Mario's 35th last year. Can't say that was surprising, but yeah. And then they just showed off another, like, a longer trailer with some gameplay of the Breath of the Wild sequel. Still no name, and a 2022 announced date, which probably means it's going to be the next year's Christmas, like, holiday game.
Yeah.
Some people were hoping it would be like maybe March, but I think they would have said if it was going to be. And yeah, that no full title. Yeah, I'm guessing it's going to be next E3's big like showcase.
I mean, you know, like, yeah. I mean, we make a lot of jokes about the whole 2022 thing, but if you really think about it, next year's E3 could prove to be, and we say this every single year, I know, but like next year's E3 could prove to be absolutely incredible because you're going to have more gameplay of Starfield with Bethesda and Xbox if
that'll be their big thing, yeah.
Yeah, if they do another joint one, that'll be great. You're going to have Breath of the Wild 2 from Nintendo, new Assassin's Creed from Ubisoft. You know, all of these big things that are all slated for then. You know, will be
and also by then, like we were saying before, we might actually see more on Metroid Prime 4. So, like, exactly. Nintendo could have a good double whammy for that.
Might also see Beyond Good and Evil too.
Watch how this time next year we're like. Maybe next year.
Honestly, if we don't see Beyond Good and Evil 2 next year, I am rioting. Just me on my own. But
just dead. It's gone. The dream is dead. But yeah, Bandai Namco didn't really show off much from what I heard. It was just focused on one game. So that was that.
I mean, there is a big one that we've not mentioned yet, which kind of came in a little bit before E3. Elden Ring.
Yes. Ooh. Yeah. Yeah, Jeff Keighley getting his exclusivity on that one.
Yeah.
But yeah, looks clean. Again, another one that's definitely very next gen.
Yeah. Dark Souls now with horses.
Basically, yeah. We took Dark Souls and Lord of the Rings and we fused them together. No, that looks really cool. Yeah, definitely. It's nice to see kind of like, so this is what next gen is going to look like. That's kind of the impression I got from the kind of takeaway of this. Just that a lot of it we're not going to see until next year, really. But yeah, I think with especially Nintendo showing a lot this year and Xbox having so much on Game Pass, it was hard to be too disappointed given the circumstances, and the fact having an E3 at all was a nice. It was nice to have it back. Obviously, Ben, I know your forte is more in the PlayStation era, realm. So I don't know if there's any murmurings of a state of play coming soon, but I imagine we might see something soon.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a weird kind of few weeks now where it's kind of like E3's done. That was a really good E3. I would to wait a month for EA.
Sony.
Yeah, EA and Sony can do their thing in the middle of July.
I mean, the other thing is, because I didn't mention it to Nintendo, if I don't know if you noticed, but the one thing that literally wasn't mentioned at all was anything Pokemon, which is surprising because I feel like they've got the most to talk about at the moment, and yet there wasn't even like a reminder that games were coming out or even showcase in the Treehouse, which I had even expected, at least for the remake games that are coming later this year. So, I mean, the talk is that there's going to be a Pokemon Presents soon. Yeah, they have a lot to show. They have the remakes at the end of this year, and then this brand new open world game early next year, which, again, we mentioned it in the pre-show. I mean, they showed it, and it's the conceptually it looks great, but it didn't look, it didn't quite look like Breath of the Wild level clean, which is now a 4-year-old game. So yeah, I don't know. I think they have a lot that they need to show.
Yeah.
From that to kind of, I don't know what if they're. I think we mentioned this before. Are they waiting for a pro model of the Switch to kind of show it off? It's so impossible to say now. But I would expect them to do another presents in the next month or so, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, it surprised me that they didn't focus on like a pro model or something like that, within their conference. I mean,
think they generally don't. I think E3 they tend to just keep it to the games.
Yeah,
which is why there was the whole like the rumor mill in the Nintendo world was like on fire the week before, because all these insiders were saying it was going to happen the Friday before E3, and then just nothing happened. It was the Friday, I think, something like that, and like loads of people were like, sorry, must have got wires crossed or whatever, or plans may have changed last minute from Nintendo. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, they tend to release stuff. The rumor is it's going to be September to November drop for this new console. Well, this updated console. It's not really it's not a new console, but I mean, the main thing going for it is like we said before, they kind of need it now. Like we said, we're looking at all these next gen games. I don't even know how you get that to run on a cloud on the current Switch, to be honest. Again, another thing that makes me think maybe this, Nintendo are going to Microsoft for some help, and I don't know what Nintendo are offering in exchange. Don't know exactly what's on the table, but I assume we'll find out later in the year, which would be interesting.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think later on, maybe September, October time, might be looking at another a Nintendo event. Might be looking at another Ubisoft event potentially, because they have multiple forwards, don't they?
Nintendo usually do a September one, which I know when they announced the Lite, the handheld only system, they had announced that like a couple weeks before, and it was like releasing in like a month. So I don't know if they'll do the same for a higher end model. If the rumors of it just being an upgrade and all the old ones are going to be phased out are true, I don't really know how they pitch something like that. But it almost seems weird to be like we're in a stage now where we're talking about a Nintendo new console while next gen has just started. Really,
yeah, I know, it's strange. I felt E3 was very safe this year. I felt like a lot of it was very played safe. Apart from Microsoft, who kind of went out there and were just like, yeah, this is exclusive. Yeah, this is exclusive. Yeah. Here's this thing that you weren't expecting.
We have an exclusive. Yeah, exactly.
Like
this is on Game Pass. This is on Game Pass. Yeah.
But yeah,
we're all on Game Pass.
We all have Game Pass.
It's literally, we own everything.
But yeah, I felt like especially Ubisoft and Square Enix, things felt very safe. Very kind
it was
of,
okay.
Yeah,
it was the starter thing and then the ending thing, and then the rest was just kind of there. It was nice to, on the Nintendo front, it was nice to see kind of 2021 get quite stacked, really. Port heavy as always, of course, but also, their own games that they just haven't talked about. Last year was really weird as a Nintendo fan, because it was just kind of like, I remember there was like a mini in March or something where they announced like the Xenoblade Chronicles remaster.
Yeah.
And that was announced for like May. May came and went, and there was like literally nothing on the calendar. And it was like, have Nintendo just given up this year? Are they just like, well, we can't do anything, pandemic? And then they just not shadow dropped, but they just announced on Twitter the Paper Mario game. And it was like, oh, okay, so this is how they're doing things now. Like, is this it? And then they did those like little partner showcases, most of which weren't very good. Like there was like WWE 2K wrestling or just random stuff that just didn't really add anything. Just, it felt like those kind of Square Enix like showcases that were just not really doing much. But yeah, so I think as a Nintendo E3, it wasn't mind-blowing, but it was good.
Yeah.
So I don't know, should we pick one game that we really want to get our hands on?
Yes.
Wrap it up. Will?
Yeah.
How about you? I probably know what you're going for.
I mean, yeah. I mean, obviously, I would say Breath of the Wild 2, but it wouldn't, like, it was already announced. So, and obviously, we didn't also really get much more than just a window. So I'm actually going to go for Metroid Dread, because that, yeah, it's just so nice to see a new Metroid game done in its done in its traditional format as well. Yeah, I'm all over that.
Ben, do we need to ask?
Beyond Good and Evil 2? No.
We'll be here next year talking about it.
Yeah, I'm telling you. There was a couple. So 12 minutes. I think looks really interesting, and I can't wait to get my hands on that. But from the Xbox and Bethesda showcase, I think Forza Horizon 5 looks absolutely gorgeous. I can't wait to play that.
Yeah, likewise. I think if there's any other than Nintendo stuff, like Forza just looks so clean.
Yeah.
Myself being a massive Bethesda fan, has to be Starfield.
Yeah.
I want to see more gameplay until before I commit to.
Either that or the Stalker 2. That looks.
Yeah, that looks cool.
Quite good.
Well, yeah, I guess that wraps up another E3. Well, in another, we didn't have one last year, but yeah, it's back. It's back, baby.
So 2022 is the year.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot to talk about, I feel like, on that. I feel like it's going to be quite wild. I think 2022 is... I'm just glad that this year wasn't a disappointment, but it wasn't like... It almost makes it better, because it's like, oh, it was good, and next year's going to be even better. So
yeah,
it's nice to have that excitement.
Right, I think we're going to call it there. You two want to say anything else before we go, or?
Yeah, thanks as ever for having me, guys. It's always wonderful.
You're always welcome.
Yeah, always wonderful to chat to games. Do check out our YouTube on Invicta Media for new lists and reviews and features on there, definitely.
You started one, didn't you, Ben?
I did.
So we talk about that quickly while we're.
I'll plug myself. Let's do it. So I've just started a new feature on the YouTube channel called A Pile of Steam, which is where we look at some of the cheapest games that you can get on Steam and see whether they're worthy of your money or. The game that I started off with on Saturday is a game called Wit and Law Dreamtime, I think it was, which is where you play as a bear. No spoilers, obviously, but go and check it out because I have quite the ride.
Sounds fun. Yeah, I think that's it from me, really. Thanks for having us on, and.
I mean, you're the host. I don't know.
Oh yeah, I suppose so. Yeah, I guess we'll probably be back in the in the near future. Obviously, there's been a lot to talk about with E3. So it would just be a case of kind of just keeping an eye on what's going on, and we've talked about having special guests on, and. We'll speak to Leon as well. Leon's going to have a fair bit to do behind the scenes with us. I think it will be a relatively regular fixture.
I think we're trying for every 2-3 weeks.
Yeah, I imagine a bi-weekly thing would make sense. Yeah. But yeah, cheers if you're watching this on YouTube. Let us know what you're most excited to see and play, or see more of, should I say. And what were your favourite announcements? Until next time, I will see you there.